Hello everyone, I'm definitely booming today, aren't I? I even sat down and played with my audio for 10 minutes instead of going for a run and jumping out the shower at 2 minutes to 11. So yeah, should be tickety boo, yeah? Everyone, sorted. And I'll put my mic a bit closer. There we go. I spoil you lot, I do. Putting my microphone close like that. All right, Blue Van Man, how you doing? Terry, Ragnar, Carl, Paul, all the regulars are in. Davy Scott, Kate, thank you for moderating. Professor Andy, Alan Lloyd, Denise, Now Then, Andy Cooper, Big Fat Cat, Nick Yak, Sunflower, Craig, Paul, everybody, hello. Yeah, we're sorted. I could have actually come on early, but I wanted to make sure my audio was banging. It's sorted. We can do it. Turns out we can listen to videos whilst I provide comical, not even remotely legally trained commentary. Hey, opinions are like arseholes, and it's 2021. We're all allowed to have a pop army. We're all allowed to shit all over everything. It's the brave new world we've created, right? Doesn't matter if you know what you're talking about. Opinions have to be respected. I'm just using their own weapons against them. Doesn't matter if you are the thickest man on planet Earth. Your opinions have to be respected, right? We've learned that. The fuck was that? Hopefully my fancy microphone software is still doing that thing where it keeps the leaf blowers and the Bloods and the Crips assaulting a monastery and all the other sounds of America out of the background. But, I think, when I really realised that opinions were sacrosanct in this day and age, feelings couldn't be hurt, and every opinion was equally valid, even if you're a fucking idiot. Right, again, so no one can have a pop at me. You're going to get some lefty arsehole when I'm giving you my legal expertise, right? They're going to point out, oh, hang on a sec, he's a bootneck. All he's good at is wringing necks and shooting and stabbing people. What does he know about the law, man? Well, I'll stop you there, fella. You're the one who said all opinions are equally valid. You're the one who said opinions, everyone has to be respected. Nobody's feelings can be hurt. You're the blokes who made the rules. You're the ones who said, hang on, 2 + 2 = 5, according to a postmodernist academic. Well, of course he knows as much about maths as fucking Albert Einstein. It's his opinion, right? So, fuck yous. I'm allowed to give you my rambling, foul-mouthed legal opinion on things. You made the rules, boys and girls. I'm just deploying your own weapons against you. Sort of like the Taliban is doing now that Joe Biden's give them the 9th biggest military in the world. Paid for by me, Sadwings, and anybody else who's unfortunate enough to be an American taxpayer. Winner. So, yeah. What I was going to say there was, I remember that when it really dawned on me that this was the case. And it was when I was listening to Radio 2 while I was driving one day. This is probably about 10 years ago. And Johnny Ball, those of you that are older will remember him from, I remember him, kids' TV show in the 80s. But he knows about science, right? Unlike his talentless hack daughter who got the job because of daddy. And Johnny Ball was debating people about nuclear power. And I remember specifically listening to it, shaking my head, bewildered, because you were getting like pensioners phoning up and going, we have to get rid of them nuclear plants. Oh, you can't have them. And he was going, yeah, but... And he started like just laying out all the evidence. And there's loads of evidence. It was like, he talked about how the Fukushima disaster was actually an advertisement for nuclear power. Because he said it was the oldest plant on the Japanese grid. It was falling to bits. They were supposed to have replaced it 10 years earlier and they hadn't. It was totally in a state of decay and they knew it was dangerous. And then they had an earthquake and a tsunami, a resulting tsunami. And even after all of that, even then, it still didn't melt down. So he said, actually, that's sort of an advertisement for how safe nuclear power is, because that was a really old, knackered plant that was classified as being dangerous. And then the reason there was an incident was because of an earthquake and a tsunami. It wasn't just, Homer Simpson works in there and he left his Coke can in the wrong place. It was literally, it was knackered, it was old, it was the worst fucking plant in the country, and there was an earthquake and a resulting tsunami, and it still didn't completely melt down. And when he was trying to lay all of this evidence out, every person who rang him was just going, "Ooh, yes, but what about Chernobyl?" And he was like, "What's that got to do with anything? It was the fucking Soviets. We all know what they did to agriculture under the communists, right? Do you think they're going to be any better at running nuclear power plants?" It's so obvious, but nobody would have it. And it was akin to somebody... What's this? The lack of audio is akin to being on the Angry Ann Keller show. If that is a quip about yesterday, I appreciate that, but don't talk about lack of audio when the boomer Bootneck is not the best and most tech savvy. Because when people start saying lack of audio in the comments, I'll go, fuck, and turn everything off, assuming there is none. So, yes, I appreciate the quips, but don't talk about the lack of audio unless there actually is one, right? And I'm just confidently assuming that this little green bar on my screen is telling me that there actually is audio. So yeah, that was what taught me. That was the end of the meritocracy, right? Probably about 2010. And then it just got worse and worse. And obviously now we're in peak fucking wokeism. Nobody makes any sense. A person with the mathematical ability. Diane Abbott has to be taken as seriously as a mathematician at Oxford, right? When it comes to counting. Yeah, and if you say 2 + 2 = 5, we have to respect your opinions. No need to apologise, Barry, but remember, nothing is Bootneck proof. Tech support is not in our wheelhouse. Grotesque acts of violence that can be wonderfully satisfying, yes, we're good at them, but not tech savviness. Tech savviness, that's not even a word. Right. I'm going to do, before I jump into the Rittenhouse case, I'm going to do 2 quick stories that I wanted to cover in the interest of centrism, shall we say, right? Because I'm sure, yes, Kate, Chernobyl was a tragedy. By the way, if anyone hasn't watched the TV show, it's fucking spot on. I suggest you watch it. Also, be aware that they have criticised HBO for making it, saying, "Oh, they negatively portrayed the communists." Like, they seriously have done that. They're like, "Well, hang on, you can't make the commies look bad. It's a factual retelling of the occurrences in Soviet Russia." So yeah, wait until the nuclear power plants are hiring woke SJW. That's what's going to happen. We've killed the meritocracy. We've done it now. And people thinking we're resting on our laurels because we've had such peace and prosperity for 50 years. We think it's never going to happen to us. But the way we are doing things now, it will happen. It's just going to take time. We've already had legislation in California where you have to hire not by skill or competency, but by immutable characteristics. I believe they said that any large business with over X amount of employees has to hire like a black woman. I read a thing about how there's some finance companies now where you have to get special permission if you want to hire a white man. Like, that's it. That's communism. You're starting to draw these ticks in the boxes. She's a black woman, he's a black man, he happens to be gay. It's like you are heading down the road of destruction, annihilation. Because if you're picking off, she's a black woman, he's a white man, he's a gay, he's a straight, you're not picking for competence, are you? So it's going to happen eventually. We're already on the road to ruin. My point keeps being that I think that at least with the United States, we can bring it back in a couple of years. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that is the very conservative people waiting in the wings. In the United Kingdom, you're still in the shit, boys and girls. You're still in the shit. When you've got woke conservatives, that's when you're in serious trouble. Nice to see Paz and Rotten Politics sticking their heads in again. All right, lads. Right, so this is the one story I want to bring up. Obviously, the BBC's put it on there because it's the BBC. 5 reasons people don't wear poppies because they want to obviously make the case that, you know, it's probably a good idea not to wear one. And I'm showing this because, thinking of my own weaknesses as a person, right? The core does sort of brainwash you. So I'm holding my hands up to it. It's a necessary evil when you're a soldier. They do sort of indoctrinate you, right? You can't have Royal Marine Commandos being scared to shoot the enemy. You can't have a guy rinsing your lines with a machine gun and the Royal Marine Commando raise his rifle and go, maybe he has a wife and family. Maybe he had a bad childhood. None of this was his fault. You have to act. So I understand it as a weakness and I'm constantly aware of it and trying to rail against it. And because they always made us with threats of extreme violence when I was in basic training, make sure that we always had a poppy on. And if you ever got caught without one, it was like fling you about and throw you in the pond. I always wear one. Yeah, there's another one. See there, I always wear. That's a 40 Commando one. But I want to make the case against poppy fascism, which I'm sure a lot of insufferable lefties wouldn't expect from me. But again, you long-term followers know that I'm obviously a reasonable chap and I'm willing to accept any argument from either side if it's reasonable. And I'm going to meet the BBC halfway here and say, yes, the BBC have written this story because the BBC are communists and they hate everything about British culture and society, but I am totally against poppy fascism. And all of these points are shit. They believe the poppy's been misappropriated. They're bollocks. And you don't need to go, there we go, there's the term, poppy fascism. You don't need to start spelling it out. You don't need to make it more complicated than it is. Everybody makes it more complicated than it is. The simple fact is this. You know, they're all picking on that footballer, that fucking commie Irish Sinn Féin footballer who refuses to wear one. The fact of the matter is, I support your right to not wear a poppy without getting dripped at by whinging bastards for the exact reason that I support the rights of thee and me to have a pop at woke, left-wing, insufferable Guardian readers. It's called freedom. I've tried to explain this. I've explained this point when I've been making it to American veterans. I was in a bar in Alabama having a very charged conversation with a US veteran. And he was saying to me, if you burn the US flag, it's because we were on about Colin Kaepernick, you should go to jail. And I was trying to explain to him that the whole reason we have the moral high ground that we have, and the whole reason you should be proud of being an American, is because we don't behave like that. We allow people to make bad decisions, good decisions, ridiculous decisions. And he was sort of getting it. And then I remember him going to me, okay, so they can have the freedom to burn the flag and I have the freedom to punch them in the face. And I was like, you're nearly there. You're nearly there, mate. You've almost got it. They have the freedom to burn the flag and you have the freedom to call them a cunt. It works. Ladies and gents, it works. And I totally respect the right for you to be a degenerate left-wing hippie and talk shit about the poppy. Right? I definitely do. Poppy fascism, I've got no time for. If someone's not wearing a poppy on TV, who gives a fuck? It's got nothing to do with me. And I want to bring it up for that reason, because I don't want people like me to start acting like insufferable woke cunts. Right? Make sense? Poppy fascism from the right is the same as virtue signalling from the left. The reason someone goes on about women's rights. I mean, there's dozens for the left, dozens. Feminism and women's rights and equality and equity and all the buzzwords. The reason they do that is to act better than everybody else. So if they go on Twitter and say, oh my God, and it's usually sexual deviance, oh my God, someone was rude to his wife, let's get him. They do that for virtual brownie points. And I think poppy fascism is one of the few cases where right-wingers do the same thing. If you're on Twitter proper having a pop at someone for not wearing a poppy, you're basically trying to make yourself look good. You're like, oh my God, he hasn't got a poppy on. Like, we don't need these. We don't need people, right or left, haranguing people because you've decided they're not moral. If you want to be a fucking hippie and cry about poppies and totally misread what they're for, because obviously they represent anyone who's ever died in a war, that's what that daft fucking Irish footballer doesn't understand. You have the right to do that. I totally defend his right to be an idiot. And again, to address all the comments in the chat from Rotten Pollocks and everybody else, yeah, there's a lot of corruption in the charities as well, isn't there? So I'm not a poppy fascist. Wear one or don't wear one. I'll always wear one. But I'm really sick of these fucking pylons. Yes, who cares? Do what you don't, but don't have a pop at someone. I wear mine, but I wouldn't dream of stopping some daft cunt in the street and going, where's your puppy? Shit lips. This is nothing to do with me. Do as you please, ladies and gents. That's really what the soldiers fought for, isn't it? Freedom. I mean, yeah, they weren't sat on the landing crafts going, I'm fighting for the rights of my ancestors to be woke communists. They definitely weren't doing that. But they were fighting for the right to do whatever the fuck you like. Whether it's not wearing a poppy, jogging through the streets naked, smoking a big cigar, I don't care what it is. That's what they were fighting for. Freedom to be an arsehole. Right, one more. This one. I'm attacking this one because this couple, obviously, are from Middlesbrough, or Redcar, more or less. And they made the local papers in Borough doing what I termed Gazette face, because the local paper in Borough is called the Evening Gazette. And because it's one of those why always me, whiny, northern things. Again, I always set the piss out the southerners for loads of reasons. Southern shandy drinking fairies. Northerners have got their own set of problems. And northerners, Scousers being the primary advocates of this type of attitude, and Scottish people, and Geordies, basically northerners, right? Northerners aren't soft shandy drinkers, but they love to play the victim. Scousers being the worst in the country, but the rest of us just as bad. And the local newspaper in the borough, there is every single day, there is some fucking degenerate on the front doing this face. That's Gazette face. Or sometimes it's outrage, feigned fake outrage like this. And it'll say something like, I haven't worked in 11 years, but I've still got human rights. Or some bollocks. And look at the face there. That's Gazette face there. Well, what's this shit? That bottom right picture. Like, woe is me. Or that one there, the outrage on the left. Look at the state of these people. And it says, I like the headline, tight move instead of right move. That's quite a good one. It says, benefits couple living in their car given caravan, but have to crawl through the window to get inside as the door doesn't work. Brilliant. That the... at least they're out the car, but now they're in a caravan. It says a couple who've been forced to live in their car now have a caravan to sleep in, but must crawl through a window as the door doesn't work. Judd Day and Jade Wass wash in Morrison's supermarket or in the sea whilst living in their Ford Focus. There's the outrage. Look, both of them. Yeah, I don't care, Jade. Get a fucking job, Jade. It says, there they are, through the window, winner. Said the couple moved to Birmingham to be closer to Judd's family, but after issues with their flat, doesn't tell you what the issues are, probably they burned it down, they moved back to the northeast. They thought they'd be rehoused because everyone has a right for me to pay for their fucking electric bill. But complications with Middlesbrough Council have left them stuck. The homeless couple who were living off Greg's sandwiches, it's like it is annoying how the media use this stuff to just pour scorn on Northerners. So I'm even aware of that, and it sort of annoys me, but it still makes me laugh. The couple, who are from the northeast and therefore live off Greg's sandwiches, obviously, now sleep in a caravan that were given by someone who contacted them. So someone's done them a favour. They ain't given them a caravan. But they're still dripping because the door's not working. Well, fix it then. Do something. We saw the caravan and I asked my partner, what do you want to do? I said, I can't keep sleeping in the car. I want to make the caravan into a little bedroom. We want to be able to sleep in the caravan at night and the car during the day. Spoiled bastards. I think we're spoiling them a bit now. You've got a caravan at night and a car during the day. Crikey. We just want to be in a house. Well, pay for it. Pay for it. Houses don't build themselves, you know. They don't spring from the earth like dwarves. Oh no, that's not like dwarves. That's what Gimli thought people thought about dwarves. You can't just get a watering can out and sprinkle a seed. A fucking 3-bedroom semi pops up out of the earth. Someone has to pay for them. Judd said their monthly benefits only last 2.5 weeks before they have to ask strangers to see if they've got any spare change. Nightmare. Well, here's another one. Stop fucking going to Greggs. Greggs is more expensive than Morrison's. If you go to Morrison's and buy a loaf of bread for £1, a pack of cheese slices, and I don't know, I'm not going to be totally tight, a bit of salad, some red onions would go nice with that, and a bit of coleslaw. Bosh. Set you back about £3, make you keep you in sandwiches for a week. Right? Again, do I have to point this out? Not eating at fucking fast food restaurants or cash and carry places like Greggs is not the cheapest way to live. Does anybody in planet Earth know that that's a thing? It says it's horrible not seeing the kids because they're with the mum and dad. We get £500 a month and Judd gets an extra £348. So they're living in a caravan and a car and they can't survive off £848 a month. And obviously neither of them can work because she's got a bad back. These people are fucking chances. And it leads to what I've talked about many times. Like, by the way, I don't spend £848 a month. Definitely not. Like, I think all in, including my rent and my council tax in Nottingham, I was probably doing about £1,000 a month. I think my rent was 6. Council tax was 7. It was about 7.50 in all my bills. It was just a piece of piss. Feeding myself to about £30 a week because I go to the bastard supermarket instead of Greggs. Seriously, I can get by. I could pay rent, council tax and bills for less than £1,000 a month if I was trying. But apparently these fuckers who get all the money for nout can't live off £848 a month in a caravan. And none of them can work and they just get takeaways, sandwiches and coffees from Greggs all the time. And there they are looking outraged again. Look at the face on her there. Look at the fucking grid on that honking bit of kit. I like the way he's even got a bit of Harry Monk down the front of his jacket. Like, he had to do that for an extra sandwich. If I wank you off, will you give us a cheese savoury? Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah, look at him. I care nothing for these people. So yeah, there you go. Fuck them. I just thought that would that would make you laugh. Typical northern fucking chav. Apparently, it's my fault. They don't know how to live and feed themselves. I mean, the Sun's full of these stories because they love getting us riled up. And I'm well aware that I'm falling into the trap. They love winding people up, don't they? Look at that one. I'm forced to live in a hotel as my house is so mouldy. Well, you know what I'd do? If I was poor and they moved me to a council house and it looked like that, it had mushrooms growing on the fucking walls, I'd lend a fiver off my dad, buy a big fucking bottle of cheap bleach from Aldi and a bastard face mask and some rubber gloves, and I would go to town and spend 8 hours digging the flat out, and bosh, Bob's your uncle, habitable. It's that simple. But every one of these stories is, I'm having a hard time because I'm not willing to do even slight self-help. They want people to be forced. They want a civil servant, you people like you and me, to come in and clean the bathroom for them and vacuum the floor for them and make the bed for them. They want you to do it for them, even though back in the old days, the only people who got people to do in fact, I'm getting rid of that photo because it's kind of disgusting. These people are fucking awful creatures. Back in the day, the only people who got servants to clean up for them was the very, very rich. Now, it's like this bizarre situation we're in with people that eat. Well, back in the day, the only people that got fat were the very, very, very rich. Now, it's the very, very poor, because the very rich will go to the gym and have personal chefs. It's like everything's turned up on its head, to the point where scum like this, who've never done a day's fucking work in their life, are getting butlers to clean the houses up for them before they'll move into it. They don't think to do what we do, normal people, and do some self-help and tidy your own bastard house up. I mean, seriously, anyone in this chat knows the fact. That's what you'd do. If they moved you into a council house because you were skint, and you were lucky enough to get a council house, even if it was in shit order, you'd spend 8 hours digging it out and it would be habitable. The places we had to clean up in the car when we turned up in fucking shitholes or dust balls. And you spend 8 hours really digging into it, and it's clean and you live in it. These people are just scum. Not willing to do basic self-help. So you have to clean it you have to pay your taxes to pay for their flat and all their bills, and then you also have to pay for a professional cleaner to clean it for them, because these fucking degenerates want everything for free. The welfare state is totally broken, and it's not a safety net anymore. It was supposed to be there so that people like you and I, if the worst happens and you lost all your job and you had nout, you wouldn't end up homeless. And it was supposed to be a safety net where you can sit in it for a couple of months while you sort your life out. And normal centrist people like me support that. There should be a safety net, but it should be like the United States, and they should tot up how much you've paid in over there. You go, Kate's worked for 40 years. So they could tot it up. If she hurt herself and needed 3 years off work, you could just do a simple check, look at her fucking national insurance and income tax contributions and go, yeah, you sit on your ass as long as you need, love. But these fucking scumbags, these degenerates, and this fucking shit show, these toothless, one-eyed simpletons should be forced to work. And if you don't want to work, tough titty, beg, live in a bush and beg, because I'm not happy toiling away to keep you in fucking Chicago town pizzas and special brew, you absolute human fucking toilet. It basically the two oxygen thieves. You are surviving on the good graces of all of my followers going to work and paying their income tax to feed you and your two ugly, fucked up, boss-eyed children. It absolutely makes me sick. But if you pay your income tax, you're basically getting the piss took out of you. And that, sad wings, is what I'm talking about. You think it's bad in the USA with these, what they call, ghetto moms and that? You should see the clip of the UK. 1/4 of the country is claiming disability. That'll be why they're getting 850 quid a month. They'll be claiming disability. If you can fucking climb through a caravan window to go to sleep every night, you can get a bastard job, you lying twats. All right? So there's the two other stories I wanted to talk to, and that took much longer than I expected it to. I'm a rambler. What can I say? So don't care. Don't be a poppy fascist, ladies and gents. Wear your poppy if you want, and don't piss and whinge at people if they don't. And here we go. Now, the Carl Rittenhouse case. I tried to do this using a written source, but there's no better way to do it than to sit there and take it in with your own eyes and your own ears. Because you can't say fairer than that, can you? Like I keep saying, you don't go down the road of don't trust your own eyes and ears. Don't trust your own eyes and ears, ladies and gentlemen. Let Piers Morgan tell you what you need to know. Or don't trust your own eyes and ears. Listen to the BBC, because they've never been caught doing anything dodgy. Jimmy Savile. No, nothing. Jimmy Savile was poking 8-year-olds, and the BBC knew about it, and they didn't do anything about it. I mean, if you think you can trust the fucking BBC, you really have got an head full of cow shit. I don't know what else to tell you. We had 50,000 little kids getting gorilla fucked by grooming gangs, and the BBC helped the state cover it up. So, you can't... I tried to use the BBC. It was gobbledygook. Everything they write is a lie. The coverage from the likes of PBS, which is the American version of the BBC, CNN, MSNBC, and the BBC themselves, is criminal. It's criminal. They ignore video evidence and instead give you half-baked opinions. So this is the best part of this video. Obviously, I got it off Tucker because he's willing to talk about it. But I'm trying to cut out Tucker because I don't want to give you your opinions. I just want to show you what actually happened and let you make your own mind up. This was one of the... This here, what I've paused at, was possibly the most mental part of the trial that I seen yesterday. And I want you to watch it for yourself and then we'll talk about it, right? And here it is. Hopefully my sound's working.
Yes.
Don't bugger off. There we go.
Yes.
Okay. That's Mr. Rittenhouse?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you'd agree your firearm is pointed at...
Look at that picture. Oh, God, you can't even pause it. If that right there isn't the dictionary definition of self-defense, there isn't one. He's on his arse. He's on his arse with a bloke pointing a gun at his face. It would be self-defense if he was stood up confidently with his weapon shouldered and the guy was pointing a gun at him. It's the dictionary definition. But he's on his arse, having previously, seconds earlier, been smashed around the head and kicked. And he's on his arse as a man points a gun at his fucking face.
At Mr. Rittenhouse, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And once your firearm is pointed at Mr. Rittenhouse, that's when he fires his gun. Yes?
No.
Sir, look, I don't want to... Does this look like right now your arm is being shot?
That looks like my bicep being vaporized, yes.
Okay. And it's being vaporized as you're pointing your gun directly at him. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so when you were standing 3 to 5 feet from him with your arms up in the air, he never fired, right?
Correct.
It wasn't until you pointed your gun at him, advanced on him, with your gun, now your hands down, pointed at him, that he fired, right?
Correct.
So we're done here. We're done here. There's no need, everyone's doing all these deep dives on it. All these lengthy political screeds. We're done. That is the fucking prosecution's star witness. the one all of the media giants are trying to portray as the victim, and he's just told you he did it, nobody else. It wasn't some fancy lawyer telling you or some talking head. The bloke himself who was shot by Kyle Rittenhouse has just stood there and said, he didn't threaten me until I drew my gun and was pointing it at him. He literally said. So he definitely didn't threaten you when you didn't have a gun pointed at him, and he said, no, I didn't, no. He only shot at you when you pulled the gun out and pointed it at his face while he was on the ground. And the guy said, yeah, because he knows he can't lie without perjuring himself. So the case is fucking over. And if this wasn't political posturing, it would already have been thrown out. That's it. And there's more on there, but you don't need to go any further than that. There was a lot of stuff about how he was obviously chasing Kyle Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse was running towards the police, and the bloke was chasing him. He was pursuing him. It wasn't Kyle Rittenhouse chasing down the man to murder. It was the opposite way. So, yeah, I'm impressed he took the stand. But again, I make this point many times. A lot of people are a bit cowardly, and they don't want to take the stand for fear of making a mistake. But if you're not telling any lies, if you like I keep saying, it doesn't matter how tall and handsome you are. There's numerous things about, everyone loves to quote psychology. Oh, if you're better looking, you do better in court. Or if you're taller, you do better in court. The only thing that matters, the truth. That's it. And the truth shall set you free. If you are not telling any lies, you cannot be made into a liar. How many times have I pointed that out? That's why I'll debate any communist on Channel 4. That's why Jordan Peterson pulls them to pieces. Yes, he's erudite and he's very well read and he's a learned man and he's a good speaker, but you don't need to be. If you were telling the truth, they cannot turn you into a liar. And Kyle Rittenhouse wisely took the stand because his lawyers obviously told him the same truism. They cannot turn an honest man into a liar. Doesn't matter how clever you are, how manipulative you are, how charismatic you are. If you could put a big, thick, fat chav on the stand and you could get Johnny Cochran to fucking cross-examine it, if you were telling 100% the truth, they cannot turn you into a liar. And that simple fact will get Kyle Rittenhouse off. Unless, and it's a big unless, we are living in a fucking communist dictatorship and it's far worse than any of us imagine. Because the caveat I would put there is, and this is going to sound controversial to some people, but again, listen to your own eyes and your own ears. Trust them. Derek Chauvin, to me, not a legal expert, but I like to think of myself as well read. Derek Chauvin quite clearly committed manslaughter. What every one of us in Britain has been raised to think of as manslaughter. That's what Derek Chauvin committed. To commit murder, you have to have planned it. I believe the Americans use second degree for that type of thing, but ultimately, what's clear is that Derek Chauvin is a fucking dickhead. He's not very professional. And he deserves some jail time. But I think your average person who knows anything about legal precedent would say Derek Chauvin should probably have been looking at about, 8 years in jail or something? And then you get time off and stuff. It's not murder. It's not murder unless you really, with violence aforethought, plan to end somebody's life. And yet, he still got done for murder. So this is really going to be a litmus test for how bad things have gone in the United States. Because I think everyone who's watched this, who's even remotely impartial, even that Anna Kasparian, she came out and said, it's fucking done. It's done. Even Anna Kasparian, who is the twat. Here we are, I'm trying to find. Is this what you sent me, Ragnar? Yeah, there we go. the same video, right? That is a good point as well, by the way. That image there that's in the bottom right-hand corner. I remember that. And I joked about it to my wife and said, actually, Rittenhouse wants a fucking job off the local police department because his trigger discipline there, whilst under threat and having just been assaulted, when that bloke, if you watch the video, and I'm assuming everyone's read it, so I don't need to play it. When a guy ran at him who wasn't armed, after he just shot one of the blokes, he turns around, as in that image in the bottom right-hand corner there, and pointed it at the dude with the cap on. And when the guy put his hands up and went, whoa, 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 he was literally 3 feet away from him. And when the guy went, whoa, 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 he actually didn't shoot him. He went, fair enough. He's held his hands up. He's no threat. Fair enough. 9 out of 10 American coppers wouldn't have showed that level of trigger discipline. So, again, you don't have to listen to clever, spurious pieces by smart men in smart suits, and you don't have to listen to elaborate thesis from some fucking legal eagle. All you have to do is go on YouTube, watch some of the live footage, and in 20 minutes, you've made your fucking mind up. It was the dictionary definition of self-defense. He showed remarkable poise and calm for a teenager, better than 9 out of 10 coppers. And if it wasn't politically charged, it'd have been fucking thrown out in a heartbeat. So as I said, that's it. Watch the footage for yourselves. It is staggering. Viva Fry does good coverage. It's mad. It's mad to think that it's still in the court. But these are the times we're living in. So how dire... We know we're in dire times. I mean, the UK is up there. The US is about there. On the fucking dire list, right? This is mountain of skulls with the communists on top of it. And this is merely having a shitty day. The UK is about there. And the United States is about there. We know things are dire. But this is the litmus test. This is going to show us how bad it is. Because Derek Chauvin should merely be in prison for manslaughter for a relatively short period of time. He isn't a murderer, and I think the general public can see it. Kyle Rittenhouse, it blows Derek Chauvin out the window. It is nailed on 100%, self-defense, as clear as it can possibly be, and he showed remarkable poise and restraint when dealing with people that were unarmed, even though he'd just been attacked by a man pointing a fucking pistol at his face, right? So this will be the litmus test. There's millions of people seeing it all around the world. If he still gets convicted, then we're going to have to move the we're in the shit threat level up a few points, because we'll be getting up to seriously fucked, as opposed to merely somewhat in the shit. But that's it in a nutshell. Watch it for yourselves. It is mind-blowing that young lad is still in front of a judge and jury today. And that, I think, will do me. Oh, yeah, and I haven't got time to go over it, but Prince Harry is a fucking bell end. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. I'm not going to be around tomorrow or Friday. I've got to work. Although, Friday, I think I'm doing an evening shift on Friday. So I might do Friday. But yeah, thanks for checking it out. As usual, my nutshell is as big as my massive balls. Thanks for watching. And yeah, I'll probably see you guys Friday. All right? Stay frosty. It's a crazy, crazy world out there. See ya.